Alphonse Capone was born in Brooklyn, 1899, to Italian immigrants chasing the American dream. He grew up on tough city streets learning survival and power outside the classroom. Expelled in 6th grade after a fight, Capone turned to street gangs, his real education. He learned to fight, hustle, and earn respect through intimidation. It was here he met Johnny Torrio, a strategic gangster who became his mentor. Torrio saw potential in Capone, teaching him that crime could be organized like a business. Capone worked as a bartender, bouncer, and bodyguard, gaining street smarts and scars. One fight left him with the nickname Scarface. In 1919, Torrio called Capone to Chicago, a city ripe with opportunity and corruption. Capone left Brooklyn at just 20, ready to build his empire in the Windy City. Chicago was a city of industry and vice, perfect for an ambitious young man. Capone quickly adapted, using his street skills to rise in the criminal world. He was no longer just a Brooklyn tough. He was on the path to becoming a legend. The move marked the beginning of Capone's transformation from street kid to kingpin. In Chicago, he would find both fortune and infamy. The city would never be the same, and neither would Al Capone. In Chicago, Capone thrived under Torrio's guidance, learning to run crime like a business. Torrio's empire spanned brothels, gambling, and illegal saloons. Capone was his trusted enforcer. In 1925, after an assassination attempt, Torrio retired, handing control to Capone. At just 26, Capone became boss, expanding operations and tightening his grip on the city. He bribed politicians, judges, and police, making himself nearly untouchable. Capone lived openly, flaunting his wealth and courting the press. He was both feared and admired, a brutal gangster and a public figure. During the Great Depression, he opened soup kitchens, earning a Robin Hood reputation among some. But his rule was built on violence and corruption. Capone's dual image, ruthless criminal and generous benefactor, made him a legend. He ruled Chicago with an iron fist, turning the city into his personal empire. The line between criminal and celebrity blurred. Capone was king, but every king has enemies. Prohibition in 1920 created a black market for alcohol, and Capone seized the opportunity. He built a vast bootlegging empire, controlling breweries, smuggling routes, and hundreds of speakeasies. His operation made millions, fueling both his power and Chicago's underworld violence. Rival gangs fought for territory, turning the city into a battleground. Capone's organization was ruthless and efficient, using violence as a business tool. He justified his crimes, claiming he was just giving people what they wanted. Many saw him as a provider, not just a criminal. Capone's empire thrived on public demand and official corruption. He became a symbol of defiance against unpopular laws. The business of booze made him rich and dangerous, but the violence and chaos drew national attention. Capone's success made him a target for both rivals and the law. The stakes and the risks kept rising. Capone hated the nickname Scarface, preferring Snorky for his sharp style, but the press loved the menacing moniker. His scars were a reminder of his violent rise, but his true infamy came on February 14, 1929. That morning, 7 members of Bugs Moran's gang were executed in a garage. Capone's men, disguised as police, carried out the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Capone was in Florida, giving him an alibi, but the message was clear: he ruled Chicago. The massacre shocked the nation, cementing Capone's reputation as America's most ruthless gangster. Public opinion turned. Fascination became horror. The press and authorities could no longer ignore him. The massacre marked the beginning of Capone's downfall. He became a national symbol of organized crime's threat. The government was now determined to bring him down. Capone's reign was at its peak and under siege. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre made Capone public enemy number 1. President Hoover demanded action, but Capone was hard to convict. He left no paper trail, and witnesses were terrified. Eliot Ness and the Untouchables raided his operations but couldn't put him away. The real breakthrough came from the Treasury Department, led by Agent Frank J. Wilson. They followed the money, uncovering years of tax evasion. Capone had never filed a federal income tax return despite his lavish lifestyle. In 1931, he was indicted on 22 counts of tax evasion. Capone tried to bribe his way out, but a surprise jury switch foiled his plan. He was found guilty and sentenced to 11 years in prison. The King of Chicago was brought down not by bullets but by accountants. He was sent to Alcatraz, ending his reign. Capone's empire crumbled, and his legend became a cautionary tale. The era of Scarface was over.